15th of March 2006, coalition troops entered a home in Al-Shaki district, Iraq, handcuffed the occupants and executed all 10 family members present, 5 of them young children. Subsequent airstrikes destroyed the home, but not all the evidence of the massacre, some of which was later documented at a local morgue. This year marks the 20th anniversary of what was possibly Australia's gravest foreign policy mistake, the invasion of Iraq. The Australian Labor Party opposed the invasion, and its hands are free of the blood of the hundreds of thousands who died, amongst them the family in Al-Shaki. Just 4 years after the invasion, as the full failure of the Howard government's foreign policy became apparent, Labor won power from opposition for only the 3rd time since the Second World War. The Australian people honour our Anzac spirit, but support neither blind militarism nor servility. What we do support is a government that reflects abroad the compassion and optimism that mark Australians as people here at home. Unfortunately, the ALP under Simon Crean in 2003 was not possessed of the political power to stop the invasion of Iraq, but opportunities for compassion nevertheless abound. The massacre of the family in Iraq was discussed in emails authored by the UN Special Rapporteur on extrajudicial summary or arbitrary executions. We only know the truth about the incident because WikiLeaks published these emails in 2011, influencing public sentiment in Iraq about the occupying forces and helping the Iraqis regain sovereign control over their country. Australians call a spade, and WikiLeaks Australian founder Julian Assange has exemplified our compassion for the vulnerable and our belief that justice can be served through transparency. WikiLeaks has published revelations about everything from widespread violations of the Geneva Convention at Guantanamo Bay to toxic waste dumping in the Ivory Coast, from illegal government surveillance to collusion between political parties and media outlets, from war logs to leaks about illegal banking practices. Assange has paid a heavy price for representing the interests of the world's most vulnerable people against the interests of the most powerful. He still sits in jail for telling the world the truth about the family in Al-Shaki and about countless other unjustly treated families around the world. The person who has done more than perhaps anybody to vindicate the opponents of war in 2003 and illustrate that preemptive military action is a folly, now needs help from the party who judiciously adopted the anti-interventionist policy 20 years ago. Tony Blair, former leader of the UK Labour Party, recently expressed regret and apology over the decision to commit troops to the Iraqi invasion, noting that the intelligent assessments turned out to be wrong. If only he'd had access to WikiLeaks whilst deliberating, a publisher whose record of unblemished accuracy is unquestioned. A time comes in a successful politician's life when political capital accrues, and it can be used to more than just apologise for grievous wrongs in the past. Nothing will ever undo the injustice done to Iraqi families, but Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has an opportunity to show compassion for courageous truth-teller Julian Assange, and in doing so, imbue the world with a little more of the Aussie brand of optimism. That optimism is built on the knowledge that our collective welfare does not depend on the commission of unjust brutalities overseas, and that governments who believe it does should be embarrassed out of office. The next time a corporatist government entangles us in a war over profit, we must allow WikiLeaks to publish the truth and vindicate those such as the Labor Party members of 2003 who opposed the barbarism in Iraq. Mainstream media polls held by Fairfax and Alan Jones show that over 70% of Australians support the release of Julian Assange, and some polls show even higher levels of support. Julian Assange must be freed so that there is no repeat of the Al-Sharqi massacre in our name. Prime Minister Albanese, please pick up the phone to the US President and use the political capital the compassionate and optimistic people of Australia have invested in you to restore some dignity to the memory of the family in Al-Sharqi. Thank you.